Hello everyone, this is 707 Bros Sam with another video. This time we're gonna draw Vaporeon. Um, so let's get started. Here's the overall picture, and I'm about to put the picture that we're gonna draw right about now on screen, just so it can help you guys. And let's get started. So first we're gonna draw just a plain circle, and before we do any further, I just wanted to say that probably he's not gonna be the same. He's not gonna come out the same. Well, I know he's not. So don't expect them to be the same, because like the reference is on screen, and you guys could really compare them. So just remember that it's not gonna be exactly the same. So right here, just do a circle, and right here I'm just doing the shape of the body. For example, the line on the left is supposed to be his right leg, and then I'm doing the other leg on the other side, and then the line on the right of the circle, that's the tail. So we're just getting the shapes there, the lines there, just to make it all even and accurate. I'm doing the other leg now. So just pay attention to the size of the feet, the thickness, and compare it to the rest. And right here I'm making them a little bit shorter than they end up being, because he does have the collar, like the collar. So yeah, so right here I'm just splitting the head in half, and then just doing the same. And right here, now that I notice, it's a kind of off, it's not right in the middle. So yeah, and then you just do kind of like an M shape, and that's basically gonna be the forehead area. So yeah, so that's one of the things that when I'm recording, I'm not fully concentrated on the drawing, because I'm making sure that the camera's recording and the camera's just on my mind, you know what I mean? So sometimes I miss things, or sometimes, like, since I have I can't be over the picture, the drawing. And then right here I'm doing the ear, and then just do a straight line, and then do the same thing on the other side, and just pay close attention to where it is compared to the other picture. Although, like I'm saying, you don't have to do it the same, it's just you can do whatever you want, and just try to do those lines the same length as the other one. So yeah, so like I was saying, so sometimes I miss things because I'm not over the picture. I'm not, like, usually when you draw, you're just on it, you know, you're really close to the drawing. And here I'm about a foot away, so I'm not that close to the picture, and I'm looking at it at a side angle, so it's not, I can't see all those details. Sometimes the eyes look off, but on my point of view, they look alright. So that's one of the things you guys need to remember, that sometimes something may be off, but that's why I put the picture on screen, the reference, so you guys could see everything. And if I don't do something right, you have the picture right there to help you guys. And but I always go back after I finish recording. I always go back and I change whatever I didn't do right. So yeah, so right here I just do those, because the side of the head is kind of like a straight line. It's still kind of curved, but it's still kind of straight, so you guys gotta make sure that you get the shape of the head perfect. Right here I'm just erasing the middle, and as you guys see, it kind of goes into like a point at the bottom of the chin. It's still round, but I don't know if you guys could see those kind of like straight lines. It's not a perfect circle like we did before. And then right in the middle is the nose, and then these lines are just to help me place the eyes. You guys don't have to do it if you guys don't want to, but it just makes it even more easier. So right here, like I'm noticing now that I have the picture face first, not face first, but like a front view, I'm noticing that some of the lines weren't the same, like for example those eyes. And maybe that's one of the reasons I was having trouble at last, because I did go back and change the eyes. So as now that I'm noticing that on the right side it's a little bit more thicker than on the left, so that's why I had a little bit of trouble doing that after. But that's one of those things that I tell you that I'm not able to see when I'm doing the drawing unless I pick up the drawing and look at it. But usually I just try to keep it as original as I can, so I won't have to go back and edit it. And then right here I'm just doing those the highlights on the eyes, just so we could, so you guys could get like a better look, and so he could look more better, you know what I mean, just so we could get a better overall look picture of Vaporeon. But the eyes, that's you guys. I'm pretty sure some of you guys are gonna have trouble too. And then right here I'm just doing the circle, the neck, the neck thing that he has. I don't know what to call it. And then as you guys can see at the top, it gets a little bit bigger. And by bigger I mean the length of the head to the end of the circle. For example, at the bottom it's shorter, and then at the top the gap between the head and the end of the circle is a little bit bigger. So that's one of the things that you guys need to pay attention. And then just to make it easier, because you could always just follow doing those the kind of like the curves all around the neck area. But what I like to do, just to make it more simple, I do these lines, and then I just do the curved lines. So it just helps overall. And then we have that circle we did at the beginning, just to make it even, and it just makes it easier. Here I'm doing the other ear, the shape of the ear, and then I do the other one. And honestly, they are the same length. I measure them after the drawing, after I finish the length of the ear. And for some reason, the one on the left looked a little bit bigger than the one on the right. That's Art right, his left. And the reason why it looks bigger, it's because the length at the bottom of the ear, the one that's sticking out, is longer than the one on the other side. So there's more inner ear, if we could say that, on one side than the other. And then right here, just do a straight line, and that's gonna be the fin on the top of the head. And it's basically just kind of like a curved line, and then that comes off the middle. And then right here I'm just doing those curved lines, and I'm using the reference from the circle we did at the beginning, and those lines that we did that he has, that defines each of those curved lines. As you guys can see, they're not touching the lines that we did. So that was just a reference. This doesn't you guys could do that if you guys want, but it depends how big you do the circle at the beginning. And right here I'm just erasing those extra lines. And as you guys can see, he's starting to look like Vaporeon. Like, just by that, we already know that's Vaporeon. And honestly, he's fairly easy. He's probably one of the easiest Pokemon I've ever drawn. Maybe it was just the pose that he's in, because basically it's just the head and then part of the body. We didn't do the actual body. So yeah. So here's like we did at the bottom. We're doing those lines just so we can know where the points are. And then I don't keep going, because right here I'm gonna do the other side of the fin, and then it's not that thick, as you guys can see in the picture. And then then I started doing the kind of like the little part that shows on the fin. Like I said, it's not gonna be the same, it's not gonna be perfect, but we're just trying to get we're just using it, in other words, as a reference. So don't get discouraged if it doesn't turn out like the actual picture. And then right here I actually meet up with the lines we did at the beginning, and the reason for that it's because it would have turned out a lot bigger if I wouldn't have done that. So it just depends, like I said, on how big you do the circle at the beginning. So yeah, so he's turning out to be really good. I really like drawing them. And right here I'm just doing those lines that he has. I don't know why. I guess I'm just fixing the overall shape of the ear. Guess I didn't like it, and I'm doing a voiceover just if you guys didn't know. So yeah, and then just doing the ear, the head, just doing those lines. And then they meet up, they make a point right there where we did the point for the fin, on the top fin, because it's signifying that it goes over the head, the shape of the head. And then I'm using a pencil this time. I was gonna use the mechanical pencil as you guys saw, but I changed my mind because I noticed. And then right here we're just doing the ear, and then as you guys can see, it starts not that thick, but probably like a third of the length of the ear going down, and then it just gets it ends at a point the closer you get to the edge. And then just try to do it the same on the other side, the same thickness, just so it doesn't look off or weird. And yeah, so like I was saying, usually what I do is I do the rough sketch. By rough sketch is those shapes we did at the beginning, and sometimes I just like to do the whole drawing. um, but and then I would do that in pencil, right? And then I would go back and I would do it with the mechanical pencil. But I noticed that sometimes when I use the mechanical pencil and I didn't like a line, I would erase it. And since I am using color pencils to color them, the color pencil only goes on the surface of the paper, so the mechanical pencil makes dents in the paper, and then the color pencil doesn't go in those dents, so you see a lot of white spots. So for this one, I decided to use just the regular pencil, and then as you can see, I'm using those lines we did for the shape of the ear. And then right here they don't look that different. I don't remember if I went back and changed it. But once I color them, it does kind of look different. And as you can see, the leg we kind of went I did it too short, but like I said, that was just kind of like a reference line, just to help us know where we're gonna place it. And the shape is fairly easy, it's not that complicated, just two straight lines, and then one it goes it curves, and then it goes over the other line, and then it meets back with it. And then this leg, you just extend it and just do the toe. So it was fairly easy. Probably if I give it a grade from 1 to 10 on how difficult he is, I'd probably give him a 5, because he's not that hard. I'm sure most of you guys are gonna be able to draw him, or not gonna have a hard time doing them. Like I said, the only hard thing, the only thing I had trouble with was doing the eyes. I'm getting them like the same size, but like I said, I noticed that those lines I did at the beginning weren't even. But that's one of the things that I really can't change. So right here, I'm just following because the back, the end of the body shows a little bit, the butt area, you guys will. And then so I'm using the leg at the bottom, the right line, just so I could get the shape right. As you guys saw, I did it right there. And then we're gonna do the other leg. Yes, the other leg. So as you can see, we're pretty close to doing it on the same area spots. On the, see right here, I do the line just so I can know that they meet up and it makes sense, that it doesn't look weird, because then it would look off, or the leg might look crooked. So like I was saying, so we're pretty close to the same lines on the actual picture, like where they meet up, but some don't. So like I said, we're trying to get really at least close to it, not perfect, but at least close to it. As long as he's recognizable, then that's all that matters, right? So right here I'm just doing the shape of the tail, and I'm not looking at the shape of the tail necessarily. I'm looking at the shape that the tail makes with the ear. If that makes sense. So I'm not looking at the inside of the tail, I'm looking at the gap and the outside of the tail compared to the ear and the and the leg and everything else. And then I just use those reference lines we did at the beginning to do the tail. So it basically just gets thinner. As you guys can see on the reference picture, it's not necessarily the same, but it's not like I'm you guys could go back if you guys really want to do it the same. You could use these tips, or at least what we're doing, and then just try to get as close as you can to the actual picture if you guys want. But here I'm not gonna do that. And now we're gonna do the tail. So as you guys can see, the tail ends close to the area of the chin. So you guys can make the tail any way you want. But on the picture and the reference that we're using, it goes it doesn't go lower than around the chin area. So I do the same. So that's one of the things you guys could do. And right here, I end up changing this because the tails, in my opinion, ended up looking a little bit too small. Sorry, just somebody's calling me. And then so I end up changing it. I don't like the other part of the tail, so so I end up changing it so I can make a bigger tail. Right there, just gets thinner. I erase the rest, and so yeah. So then I do the line that's the one that the point where the leg starts, because as you guys see in the picture, it starts around that area, and then so I know that's where it's supposed to the point's supposed to be, and then I just use that as a reference to do the rest of the tail. And the other tail, the other side of the fin or tail or whatever you guys want to call it, goes roughly to the length, the same length as the leg. So I kind of base that one off that, and then I do this right here, and I just try to get the shape there, not the same but fairly close. Like I said, we're not necessarily going for a perfect match, an actual replica of that picture. And sometimes, like, if you didn't see that reference picture like side by side, I don't think you would have noticed all those little tiny differences, if that's even a word. So yeah, so one of the reasons that you guys could pick out the mistakes on my drawing compared to the one on the reference is because you guys have them side by side, you know what I mean? And then right here I'm just doing that line for the fin, not for the tail, the spikes that it has in the tail, the fins. And I know that it ends around there, so I just follow it through, and then yeah, so there we go. So just look at the gap between that line that we just did and the outside of the tail, and then I do another line, and then that way I know that that's where I'm supposed to put those fins. And then I think I start doing the lines for the curved lines on the tail. So I use the same technique we used on the neck area for that, just to make it easier, and it's way faster and more accurate. So just try to make those gaps the same, and then just do random lines like that, and then we could use those lines for those curved lines that we do right here. And then it just makes it easier, in my opinion, instead of going one by one and then maybe not being that accurate. It just makes things, in my opinion, way more easier. Although it's not the same as the picture, but like I said, we're not going for that 100% look of that picture. Well, we are, but like those details, you guys know what I mean, right? And then yeah, so I just do those curved lines. And we got Vaporeon. I really liked how he turned out. Honestly, I didn't even want to color him, because I do go back and I do change some of the lines. Like I said, I go over, and then I didn't want it. Like, I honestly didn't want to as you guys can see, here's the picture, the picture, the drawing, the drawing with pencil, the outline, and I honestly didn't want to, for some reason I didn't want to color it or ink it. It just looks really cool just in pencil, but just so it could stand out on the thumbnail, and because I don't think a lot of people are gonna just the pencil outline. So I did color it, and here's the color version. As you guys can see, the size of the ears are more noticeable now that there's color. And like I said, I measured, after I finished coloring, I measured the ears, the length of the ears, the blue part, and they're roughly the same length. And then I was like, why does it look different then? The left ear is kind of like curving, so maybe, I don't know. So that's just a mistake that I did, but it's not that bad. and then I just inked it with the Sharpie, and then I went back, and after I let the Sharpie dry, I went back and I erased all those pencil lines, and then I just picked out some color pencils. I do have the 36 box of color pencils, and then I went back and I bought a pack of 64, just for more colors. But I'm not that good with coloring, as you guys could tell, but I think overall he came out alright, okay, pretty good. I just used a really light blue because it's not perfect, because the reference that we're looking at, it's computer made, so some of those tones, like for example the blue tone, it's really hard to get, especially if you don't have the exact color. So I improvised with the colors I had, just used a really light blue, and then for the shadows, I used kind of like a light blue, but it was kind of mixed with the gray. It was just like the same color, but it was just a lot darker for some reason. And I used that, and I just went really lightly. And then when I was coloring the tail, I just went over that part too, just to make it look like it's the same color. And then for the darker blue, I just used the regular blue, just the regular blue, because I could have used maybe a darker blue, but I didn't want to make it too dark, so I just used the regular one. And then for the yellow, I just used kind of like a darker yellow, and then your regular yellow. For the eyes, for the bottom part, I used the purple. And overall, I think he came out pretty good. The only things I do regret is that I went back to do weighted lines, and what that is where like corners or edges, you kind of make them like, you don't make them in a point. For example, on the forehead, the spike that he has on the forehead, not the fin, but at the, like right in the forehead, the middle, it's a little bit too dark, so I kind of messed up right there, and I kind of do regret it, but at the same time it makes them look different, so it's not that bad. And then so I did some of that. For example, another thing where you guys can notice that it's on the neck area where the leg meets, on the lines of the leg, you can notice that it's a little bit thicker. I'm still trying to practice using weighted lines. I'm not that good at it, as you guys could tell. And then what else? So then after that, after I finished the whole drawing, I went over it with Sharpie again, just to make it because if you do the Sharpie first, then you use the color pencil does make the black, it does show on the Sharpie on the black. So I went over it just to make it a little bit more darker and bold, and then I just made a thicker outline to make it pop out. So overall, I think it came out alright. He's not that small, he's fairly small, and the reason I did him kind of small, it's so I could take less time, and because I want to do more of the evolutions. So yeah, so I just want to say thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope I helped you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys want more videos. And if you guys want to know how to draw the other evolutions, then just look at my channel. I'm gonna make a playlist on there on how to draw all the evolutions, including Eevee. So yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. 707 Rosetown out.